Welcome to my tech channel where we cover the latest gadgets, software, cybersecurity, and more. Whether you are a tech enthusiast or just looking to stay up to date, this channel is for you. Join us as we explore the exciting world of technology. Thank you.
Hello all, welcome to our Linux basic terminology video. In this video, we are going to explore some of the fundamental concepts that every beginner needs to understand when starting with Linux. These concepts include kernel, bootloader, command line interface which is called as CLI, terminal, Linux distribution, services, file system, and Linux desktop environment. We'll be exploring all this terminology one by one in this video, and I'll try to give demo wherever it is possible.
So first let's talk about the kernel. Think of it as a brain of the operating system. It manages hardware resources and provides an interface for software to communicate with the hardware. Imagine you are running a game on your computer and the kernel ensures that the game can access your computer's hardware such as graphic card and other resources like keyboard, mouse, and if any other gaming equipment if you are using it. So basically the kernel is the core of the Linux operating system. It's responsible for managing system resources such as CPU, memory, and input-output. So in Linux, you can check the version of the kernel that your system is running on using the uname command with the options -r or -a. So let's try with uname -r. And if I check the output here, I can see the kernel version my system currently running on. It's 22.5.0. And if I type uname -a, I'll get the all system information related to kernel. For example, the host name, kernel version, the hardware name, and all other details with this command. There is one more command which gives me more details related to the kernel I am running on, which gives me like GCC version, OS build details, and some other stuff. But if I try this command here, it won't work because this one is not applicable for MacBook OS. So for MacBook OS, there is one more command which called sw-vers, and if I enter, so I'll get this output: product name, product version, and build version. So like that, you can try these commands in your system where you are running the Linux OS.
The next terminology in this video is bootloader. Bootloader is the program that loads the operating system into your memory when you turn on your computer. So in simple language, bootloader is a traffic cop of your computer which gets everything up and running when you start it. It's a program responsible for loading the operating system and allowing you to choose which one to use if you have a multiple operating system installed. So for example, on your laptop, if you have a Windows and Linux, then the bootloader will give you the choice which one you want to use when you boot or you start your laptop. In case of Linux, the most popular bootloader is Grub, which called as also Grand Unified Bootloader. It's basically the program which runs or starts your Linux. So in next window, this is the sample output of a Grub configuration file which lie under etc default grub. You can go to your Linux machine and you can type a cat space etc default grub, and then you can see this configuration. So this is a sample configuration where you can see there are multiple variables that controls the behavior of grub bootloader, such as default boot entry, timeout duration, distribution name, kernel command line options. For example, grub cmd line linux default, grub cmd line linux. And please note, the actual contents of the etc default grub file may vary depending on your specific Linux distribution and the configuration. That's a bootloader for you. The next terminology in this series is terminal. The terminal is the program that allows you to access the command line interface. In simple terms, imagine you are a programmer working on a project. The terminal is like your personal assistant where you give commands by typing instructions. It helps you compile your code, run programs, and manage files. The next terminology which we are going to discuss, CLI, is kind of an extension of the terminal. So basically terminal is the window of the program where you give the command and it will execute that command. So in next screen, as you can see, this black color window is basically my terminal. You can see that my cursor is there at the place where I need to type the command. And when I type any command, for example, let's say ls for listing directories, so the terminal will pass on that command and show me the output for that. So that's terminal for you. So the next terminology in this video is CLI, command line interface, which basically the alternative of GUI. So instead of doing stuff through your mouse through GUI, you can do that same stuff through CLI by just typing the command in terminal and you'll get the output for that. So for example, if you want to remove a file, create a directory, change the directory, or you want to see the contents of a specific directory, all you have to do is type the command. So in this video, we'll talk about ls command, cd command, rm command, and mkdir command. So let's start with the ls. So ls is basically list the directory content. So if you type ls command here, you'll see the contents of this directory, which is file1, file2, file3. There is a command called ls-la, which basically lists down all the information for that specific directory. Here you can see file1, file2 with all this information. The next command is cd, which basically change directory. So I am changing my directory. So I'm just going into previous directory tools. Now I'm typing cd, the next hacker, and you can see the directory is changed from tools to the next hacker directory. Here I'll type ls and you'll see the content of the next hacker folder. The next command is rm. So if I type rm file1, so it's basically will remove that file1 from this specific directory. Now you can see the ls command output and file1 is removed. So like that, rm is for removing the files. Okay, so let's try again rm file2, and then you can see the file2 is also been removed. So that's rm for you. The next command is mkdir, which basically create directory. You can call it make directory. So mkdir is useful when you want to create a folder inside a folder or inside anywhere. So I am typing mkdir test folder, and you can see the test folder has been created here. You can see like there is a folder to test, 2 folders has been created. Now I want to remove the folder. So I'll type rm folder, but you can see folder is a directory. So you'll face a issue. So you need to type rm-rf. So it's basically recursively removing, recursive force removal. So it will remove the folder, and you can see the folder name folder has been deleted. The next terminology in this video is Linux distribution. Linux distribution is a complete operating system built around a Linux kernel. A Linux distribution is like a customized package of Linux operating system that includes everything you need to use your computer effectively. It's like getting a complete set of tools and applications that work together seamlessly. Different Linux distributions may have different features, software packages, and user interfaces, and giving you the freedom to choose that one the best suits for your needs and the preferences. Some of the popular distributions include Ubuntu, Debian, Fedora, CentOS, SUSE, and there are other distributions. So for example, in this video you can see there are multiple Linux distributions which comes from distro families Debian, Fedora, SUSE, and other distributions. In the Debian, Ubuntu and Linux Mint comes. Under Fedora distribution families, RHEL, under that CentOS and Oracle Linux comes. Under SUSE distro families, SELS and OpenSUSE comes. So as you can understand from here, there are multiple distro families which distributes the Linux and the further Linux created out of that distro families. The next terminology in this video is service. A service is a program that runs in the background and provides functionality to other programs or users. For example, the Apache web server is a service that serves web pages to users. Think of a service as a worker in factory. This worker has a specific job to do and is always ready to do it when needed. For example, there might be a worker whose job is to put caps on bottles. Whenever a bottle comes down the assembly line, this worker puts a cap on it. The worker doesn't do anything else. And if there is no bottles coming down in the line, the worker waits. Same goes for the service in the Linux. So services are basically, they runs in background, do some specific functions they have been told. and if there is nothing to do, they'll just wait for the instructions coming from the system. So you can manage services on Linux system using command systemctl. Systemctl command in Linux is used to manage and control system services. It provides information about the status of service, starts or stops the services, enables or disables services to run on a system boot, and more. To see the output of systemctl command on your system, you can open a terminal and type systemctl followed by the desired subcommand such as status, start, stop, enable or disable, and the name of the service you want to manage. So in this example, we will use Apache 2 service. So let's type systemctl space status and then Apache 2, the service name. This command will display information about the current status of the Apache service, including whether it is running or stopped, and you can use this command with some other subcommands also. Like if you want to stop Apache 2, you need to type systemctl stop Apache 2. So Apache 2 is a service name, and the middle subcommand is basically what you want to do with that specific service. So, and also please note that the output of systemctl command may vary depending on the services installed on your system and then current status. So for example, Apache 2 is not installed on your Linux system, then if you type the same command, you will not get any output. So that depends on if that service is available and what's the current status of that service is. The next terminology in this video is file system. File system is the way that data is organized and stored on Linux system. The most commonly used file system on Linux is ext4. So let's understand first file system. In simple terms, a Linux file system is like a filing cabinet for your computer. Just as a filing cabinet helps you organize and store your documents, a file system helps the computer organize and store its files and folders. Think of the file system as a structure of directories and files. Each file is like a document that contains information or data. The directories act as containers that hold related files. You can create folders within folders to create a hierarchical structure. For example, let's say you have a folder called photos. Inside photos folders, you can have subfolders such as family, vacation, pets. In these subfolders, you can store specific photos related to each category. In Linux, you can view information about your file system using the command df-h. The df-h command is used to display disk space uses on a Linux system in a human readable format. Here's an example output for df-h. Let's understand the output. The first column, file system, displays the device or the partition name. The second column, size, shows the total size of the file system. The third column, used, indicates the amount of space used on file system. The fourth column, aval, represents the available space remaining on the file system. The fifth column, use percentage, displays the percentage of disk space used on the file system. The last column, mounted on, shows the directory where the file system is mounted. In this example, the dev-sta file system has total size of 238 GB with 86 GB used, 140 GB available, and a usage percentage of 38%. It is mounted as the root directory. Similarly, the dev/stb1 file system has a total size of 932 GB with 532 GB used, 400 GB available, and a usage percentage of 57%. It is mounted at the /mnt/data directory. Additionally, there is tmpfs file system with 16 GB total size and 16 GB available, mounted on /tmp. The last terminology in this video is Linux desktop environment. A Linux desktop environment is like the user interface or look and feel of your computer's operating system. It's a graphical shell that allows you to interact with your computer in a visual and intuitive way. Think of it as the design and layout of your workspace. Just like you can customize your physical workspace with different themes, wallpapers, and furniture arrangement, a desktop environment provides a customizable and organized digital workspace. A desktop environment typically includes a graphical user interface, icons, menus, taskbar or dock, and various utilities. It allows you to launch applications, manage files and folders, and access system settings easily. It provides a visual representation of your computer's resources and allows you to interact with them using windows, buttons, and menus. There are different desktop environments available for Linux, each with its own style and features. Some popular examples include GNOME, KDE Plasma, XFCE, and Cinnamon. Each desktop environment may have a unique look, feel, set of default application, but they all serve the purpose of providing a user-friendly interface to work with your Linux system. And that's it for our Linux basic terminology video. We hope that you now have a better understanding of this fundamental concept and are ready to continue your Linux journey. Thank you for watching this video, and please do consider subscribing my channel, and please share this with your friends and family. Thank you all.